All right. After taking a second look this morning at this figure that I did yesterday, I'm beginning to see a lot more flaws that I had missed, and that's again probably because I didn't use an armature for it, which is, which I have the materials for. I just need to learn how to make one. And so I think at this point I was going to continue working on this, but I think the best move for me right now is to actually start over and actually try making an armature first. I'll actually show you. See, if you take a look from this angle, it looks great. I think the forms are pretty well defined. Structurally, everything works. But then, once you spin this around, it kind of falls apart. A lot of things just aren't really where they need to be from behind, and that's again because there's no armature, there's no underlying structure when we started. Even though I use these basic forms, yeah, we're gonna have to start over. That's okay, we're learning. Here's the armature. It was actually pretty tough to get right, especially because I don't think I'm using the right type of wire here. It is aluminum wire, which is good, but it was wire that I found at a scrap yard, and it seems like this wire is just a little bit too tough. It was a lot harder to move around and bend as I needed it to, but we got it done. This is about a 1/12 scale using the cranial units measurement. So now we sculpt. On second thought, after seeing how large this wire armature is and how kind of difficult and stiff it is to work with, I think I'm actually gonna see what I can do with this one. It looks like I could probably get away with making some minor adjustments, and yeah, let's get into it. here's where we are now. I think honestly this is taking me much longer than it should. If I had to guess, I think my problem might be that I'm just kind of focusing and fixating on the details before having to correct some of the larger forms, some of the more major forms that are more important before diving into some of these details. And actually, I haven't exactly revealed this yet, but the course that I've been following is the Andrew Joseph Keith figure sculpting course on Proco. And I just started it, and I'm just kind of diving headfirst into getting familiar with this medium and this material. So I think it's time for me to move on, start looking at some hard time-tested techniques and learn to apply them so I can be a little bit more efficient and effective with my time here and my material. Good evening. We are now at the end of the day where I'm finishing off with some figure drawing. I've been kind of putting that off for a while, but figure drawing is actually kind of my bread and butter. It's probably what I've spent the most time doing in all of my previous history of drawing. But surprisingly, I'm feeling pretty rusty here. I guess it turns out that the portrait practice that I've been doing lately doesn't quite translate at least as much as I thought. But anyway, right now I'm doing the figure, the same pose actually from the reference I was working with for the figure I was doing in clay, which is pretty fun. You see, I'm still just kind of figuring things out. I think I'll say one thing that did help me, and one thing that did kind of transfer over from the portraits was just general pencil control, just general line quality. I think has been pretty consistent for the most part, but finding those forms and getting those gestural shapes and movements from the references, that took some relearning just a bit. You see, even in this pose, I didn't really take a gestural approach. I took more of a structural approach with especially the shadows and the face. And I've actually been kind of wondering, as I've been, working on these skills, I've been thinking like what the best way, what's like the most effective way for me to continue learning effectively. At this point, I don't really have much of a problem sitting down to do the work. I'm actually having quite a bit of fun doing it, but I feel like there's probably a more effective way where I could be working on, some of my weaknesses, and taking more of a structured approach that might involve, a variety of both, timed drawing practice that are 30 seconds to a minute in length, all the way up to some bigger projects that I honestly don't really have that much experience doing on, nice Bristol board, nice charcoal or graphite if I was using Bristol board. And that's kind of what I hope to do this summer. I actually I'm really wanting to do some larger works that I would want to put in a portfolio or something. Something to just kind of culminate all of the practice and work I've been doing. Hopefully you'll be able to see that at some point this summer. But this was pretty fun. Glad I got back into it. I'll definitely be continuing with it. And I hope you enjoyed this